Yes, guys, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. I'm back in the building with your boy, Glenn, and we are going to be talking Arsenal transfers. We're going to be talking Arsenal strikers because this is where we talk about the 100 million price that has been set by Sporting Lisbon on their striker Viktor Gyokeres. Arsenal interested, according to Fabrizio Romano. We have sent in a couple of scouts, and we are very much in contention to sign the Swedish 25-year-old. But should Arsenal pay 25 million, should pay 100 million for Viktor Gyokeres? Is Alexander Isak a better 100 million pound player than Viktor Gyokeres? And of course, the debate continues. How many goals is Viktor Gyokeres worth at the moment? He's come from Coventry City. He's played at at Sporting Lisbon, and they've won the league. Is that the sign? Is that the sign that he's now ready to make that big step? We're discussing all that and more in this podcast. Of course, we'll be talking about your boy Bruno Guimaraes as well. Reports coming out that Arsenal could get a massive boost in that deal as Newcastle are looking to sell between 70 to 80 million pounds. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and join the conversation. Glenn, welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time, bro.
It's been a long time. We are back now. Incredible year we've had as Arsenal fans. Will it be enough? We don't know, but really looking forward to the transfer window. I feel like the last couple of transfer windows have been really, really good, especially last year, that Declan Rice drama, getting Havertz, Raya later on. It was really, really good. I feel like this transfer window will be very busy in terms of incomings and outgoings. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one question I'm going to ask you as we start, this is where we start. Is a striker the main priority for you for Arsenal? Or do you think there is another position that you would prefer Arsenal to prioritize, look at, pay more attention to before we get into attackers?
Now, last year, I said I was adamant that now we don't really need a striker. We've just come from a season where we've scored the most ever goals we've ever done, like in Premier League history. I think we got 88 goals last season. Now, I still love a striker this transfer window. I still want us to get a striker. I feel like you just need to keep on going and improving your team. And those are one of the positions you can improve and go to the next level. But as my priority, that's not really my priority. That would be my second priority. My main priority is to get a wing. I was going to help out Martinelli and Saka. Striker would be great, but we've scored 88 goals this season. We are going to score more goals than we did last season. We are one goal away from breaking the record of last season. We are going to have a season where we're getting 60 plus goal difference, the most we've ever done in Premier League history. Yeah. Now, yes, you can argue that some things have gone our way. Like we are very good at set pieces. 20 plus of our goals have come from set pieces.
Yeah, that might not 22 goals from set pieces.
That might not be the same next season. But it could also be the same because I've also seen a stat where since he overcame in 2021, we've scored 15 plus set pieces in the 3 seasons he's been here. And before he was here in 2020, 2021, he only scored 6 set pieces. So he's doing something right. The way we attack, we get penalties as well. We score our penalties. Yes, next season it could be different. You could get penalties and miss them. We might not be that great defensively. We might concede goals and the goal difference could go down. We conceded 40 plus last season. This one it's been really good. We've conceded less than 30. So all that you can factor in all that. But I still feel like yes, you get a striker. I still feel we'll get the same number of goals because I still think Odegaard can score goals, Martinelli can score goals, and this season he's not had a great season. I'm expecting him next season to be back. Saka is always going to score goals. It's not been a great season for Jesus and Martinelli. I think both of them are going to be here next season. Maybe if they increase their numbers, they potentially get more goals. Yeah. There's some games, yes. There's like 5 games, maybe most, that I've watched this and I've been like, yes, we didn't win this game because we didn't have someone to finish the chances. The Liverpool one was the main one in the FA Cup. Maybe Wolves at home, we won the game. Aston Villa,
well.
Aston Villa away. Odegaard had a bad day that day, missed a few chances on that day. There's 3 or 4. But a game like Newcastle away, we didn't really create a lot of chances.
I would say as well that the UEFA Champions League run, for me, it continues if we have a number 9, a prolific number 1. I think our Champions League, run continues because I look at what Fulkrug has done for Dortmund against PSG, and I'm like, if we have such a guy, or even better, I think we dump out Bayern.
I hear you. Yeah, you could be right. But as a priority, I still feel Arsenal can get 80 goals plus season with or without a striker, but I still want us to get a striker. But to answer your question, not as a priority, I would get a wing as a priority.
Okay, so David Onstein obviously has reported that Arsenal are backtracking in terms of what they think their next striker should be because of the Kai Havertz effect. He has been really, really improved, and Mikel Arteta thinks that he can lead the line from now on going forward, and that means that Arsenal, instead of going out for an 80 90 100 million pound striker, they might actually think about going out for a striker like a younger striker. I was thinking about Viktor at Barcelona, who is not happy, around maybe 40-50 million in that region. Someone who comes in to kind of be a backup to Kai Havertz and then a replacement to Edin Nketiah. Are you okay with that? Just bring in a younger striker. Don't go for the big Isaks and Osimhen. Just bring in an understudy striker and then continue with whatever we are doing at the moment.
Now, I would still get players to improve our squad, because someone like a Declan Rice came and improved our squad.
Yeah,
if we were just fighting for top 3 and top 2, yes, you can get a younger striker. But the thing is, I look at our squad, I'm like, Declan Rice is really good. Saliba is really good. Really Gabriel is really good. I don't think you can improve on them in the starting lineup. So which are the other positions you can really improve on? I've heard you talking about getting someone who can come and play instead of Martinelli, and Martinelli having coming from the bench. If you look at our squad, that is potentially a position you can get a world-class player in, and then have him helping out with Martinelli.
I was thinking of a Rafa Leao in that position. And I was thinking of teams that have players that have, quality on both flanks. And I was like, what if Arsenal could actually do that? You look at Madrid, Vinicius, Mbappe, and Rodrigo now. That is excess quality to have in one team.
Yeah, and I look at our squad and only look at 3 positions where you can completely improve them. I don't think you can get anyone who's better than Odegaard right now. I don't think you can get anyone who's better than Saliba right now. The only 3 positions I look at, we can get world-class players to go and compete with Man City again, because I feel like Man City are going to really sign players this summer. Maybe the left-back position, and even that one, Timber is coming back. If he plays every day, it could be great for us. And also look at maybe the left wing, just like you, not someone to completely replace Martinelli, but someone to come and have competition for him. And the other position is striker. Yes, we're scoring a lot of goals. Havertz has been really great for us, and I'm one of those fans who's been really patient with him. He's been really good for us. But what about if you have people to rotate with him? Havertz plays a game where he's comfortable in, and then some games you bring him off the bench. I think that's one position we can definitely improve on. So I would not go for a younger striker. I'd prefer getting someone who's going to completely take us to the next level. We've not had that, I think, since Aubameyang. And before Aubameyang, maybe you're going all the way to Van Persie.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you in that. Now, Sporting Lisbon are saying Viktor Gyokeres will be available for only those clubs that are willing to spend 100 million. So let's talk about Viktor Gyokeres. One of the players that Arsenal are following, according to Romano, but we are also following Isak and Benjamin Sesko very closely. It means that Arsenal have not changed, a lot in terms of what they want in a striker in the market. They want a prolific goal scorer. And Mikel Arteta has talked about it as well, that the team doesn't have that prolific 30-plus, goal scorer. Is Viktor Gyokeres the guy for you? Because I'm still not yet 100% convinced. And the people on this channel know that I'm a pro-Isak guy. It doesn't mean that I'm not a Viktor Gyokeres guy. But how would you rank Viktor Gyokeres, not looking at other strikers, just looking at his numbers, his goals, experience? He's had 2 seasons at the top, one in the, I think, League One, and one in the in the La Liga in Portugal. He's done very well. But does that justify the numbers? Is he another Darwin Núñez, or is he the kind of Haaland that Arsenal are waiting for?
The thing is, he's had an incredible season,
Absolutely.
And that almost 40 goals and more than 10 assists as well. That's crazy. It's very difficult getting a striker like that. You will get a striker like Haaland who will have 50 goals, but 3 assists, the whole season. So he's only focusing on scoring. Right. But I don't think you can get too many players who are like Gyokeres. And I think Arteta looks like for a player like this, someone like a Jesus, someone who's going to not only score, but assist as well, create chances on top of that. Haaland is not going to really create chances for Man City. He's going to finish them. So Gyokeres, in terms of a season, is at an incredible season for Sporting, and they're about to win the league this season. I think they're still top right now with a couple of games to go.
They've won it already.
They've won it already.
Yeah,
I think FC Porto lost. So they've been top of the table for most of it. I thought Benfica could still get to them, but winning the trophy already. And he's played in England before, for Coventry in the Championship. And in terms of his championship,
he was at Brighton. I wonder how Brighton got this wrong. They usually get such.
They never played him
right.
They played him like in the FA Cup only for 4 games.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really love about him is fitness as well. Gyokeres, the best ability for me is availability.
Yeah, true.
Jesus, I still love Jesus so much. I still don't want Jesus to go. Anyway, I feel like we can use him here and there. Winger, come on in the second half as a striker. I still feel we can use him, but availability is a big problem.
That's a big problem.
And if you look at Gyokeres' numbers, he's played 31 games this season. I think they played like 34 something there. He played all 46 championship games last season, 46. Previously, before that, he played 45 championship games. He scored 17 goals, scored 21 goals. So in terms of his availability and his numbers, we've seen it for 3 different seasons. I usually get scared of signing a player who's only been good for 1 or 2 seasons, like Nunes, like Pepe for us as well. A player who's only good for 1 season, he splashed money, and he's not really ready. But for someone like a Gyokeres who's been like in 2-3 different countries and he's scored goals in 2-3 different countries, he's top scorer this season, is getting involved in play in terms of assisting and creating chances as well. He would be really good. I know you've told me not to rank in terms of other strikers. If I was to rank between other strikers, I'd have him like second or third. But in terms of just as an individual, would I want him? 100% sure. Like, he's very, very good. The only problem is the 110 million. If you had to tell me right now, Gyokeres 65 million, 70, 100% I would take him without even asking any questions. He's a player who loves to score goals, a player who's going to be in and around the box. We don't really have players in and around the box. Like I saw us against Bournemouth, Havertz is coming back and pressing from the back and winning us the ball, and then you look at the box, there's no one really inside the box. Saka sometimes, Trossard sometimes, but you don't have someone who's I don't think we have a player who just wants to score 30-40 goals in a season. We have a lot of players who want to get 15 goals, 15 assists, which is great. It has helped us. Like looking at our numbers, Odegaard 15 plus goal contributions in the league, Saka same. Who else? There's Odegaard as well in that list. Trossard almost close to that list as well. Havertz there as well. All of them getting goals and assists, which is really, really good. So, but the thing is, Gyokeres is an out-and-out striker, but he's going to come and do the same job that some of our other players are already doing.
Yeah, true.
He's going to come and I feel like he's going to come to Arsenal and get 15 goals and 10 assists. I don't think you'd come to us and get 25 plus goals. And I want someone who's just going to come and want to score goals.
Well, I've had the conversation on this channel, I think twice today. And probably the conversation will continue on and on. He has had an incredible season. That is a very, very risky metric for you to rank a striker and for you to sign a striker from, because it is highly difficult to replicate what he has done in Portugal. But then I've also said this on the live stream today. I think when it comes to the Portuguese La Liga and their football and their establishment, I don't think it is as tough as the Championship, as tough as the English Premier League, or as tough as the League One. I don't think the physicality levels there are as tough as what you would compare to in English football. And I think the elite defenders are in English football. So you look at a club like Everton. Even Everton have a world-class defender in Jared Braithwaite, and most of the teams, in the Premier League, especially the teams that are below 10th in the Premier League table, they survive on not conceding goals. If they don't concede, they can nick one, they can get a 0-0, or they can get a 1-1 and walk away with the point. So defending is something that clubs invest a lot of money in when it comes to the Premier League and also the elite levels. You look at in a club like Bayern, they have Daut Upamecano, they have Matthias de Ligt, and they have Kim. Like, that is just 3 quality defenders, 3 quality centre backs. When you come to the Premier League, we cannot even talk about it. It's horrendous. Look at Man City; they've spent over 400 million just on centre backs in the last 4-5 years. I kind of feel like his game is one reason why I would take him, because besides the numbers, I see a player there. I see a guy that wants to get involved. I see a guy that wants to, track back. I see a guy that wants to press. His if he was like Gianluca Scamacca, I would definitely say don't bring him, right? Because in the Premier League, you're going to be isolated. But I think it's a guy that you can't isolate, easily. And I think he's a guy that could thrive off the positioning and ghosting of Kai Havertz. Like Kai Havertz just opens up space a lot of the time, and Gyokeres could actually benefit from it a lot of the time. You talked about 15 to 20 goals, and that is where I think he is. I don't think he's a 20 plus goal machine. I think he's a 15 to 20. When it comes to Arsenal, he would still be in that range, right?
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, say you love him, you would take him.
I'll take him. It'd be my second option, yes.
If he's a 15 to 20, how is he your difference maker for you? What kind of difference does he bring to you?
I think he's a 15 to 20 striker, not mainly because he's not able to get 20 plus, but mainly because of how we play. And that is what I've been telling people. I still don't think like we're just going to sit there and, focus on just having a 30 goals plus striker. It's just because the way we play is going to come to the Arsenal team and realize, listen, the only one who's going to score goals. Some games, you're not going to start. Some games, you're going to, drop back. Sometimes Havertz is going to run in behind, ahead of you. Sometimes Saka we're going to use the ball on the right side with Saka and all that. He can get you 20 plus goals, yes. But can he get you 20 plus goals for 4 or 5 seasons consecutively? That I don't know. Not. Maybe in 1 or 2 seasons, it'll be like, having a bad season. He's still, I think he's 25. So he's still slightly young. But I still do think he's gained a lot of experience at Sporting and Coventry, and he can do the job for us. But it's just because of the way we play and the way he's getting assists as well. He'll be very comfortable in terms of also creating chances in our team. Will he make a difference? How will he be a difference maker? I think also the other players, when they look at the players that the manager signs, there's some players that come in and you're like, okay, this one is really going to, take us to the next level. Yeah, and I feel like someone, if like Gyokeres comes to Arsenal, I think the likes of Saka and Martinelli and Trossard will look at it like, listen, this one will actually help us get even more goals. We can now, maybe it'll take pressure away from the likes of Saka. They can be like, now we have a striker that can actually score goals. So it can go 2 ways. It can go the way of maybe Gyokeres comes in and realizes, listen, I'm not the only one who can score goals. I can also create for others. I can also improve other people's game. Or it's going to be mainly the likes of Saka and Trossard looking at it like, okay, we now have a striker who we can create chances for the pressure is not all on us. The pressure is not all on Rice to score 10 plus goals in a season and run forward. We now have a striker and we also have Havertz on top of that as well. It could go that way as well. So I think that could be the way it goes, like the Sakas and all those ones looking at it like, okay, we've now taken it to the next level.
Yeah, he would definitely amplify the creativity in this team. Just look at Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard is is the top player in the Premier League.
I love him so much.
Absolutely. To create chances out of open play without dead ball situations. So imagine if he has a player like Viktor Gyokeres, and then Kai Havertz is also growing, in confidence, day by day, season in, season out. I think it's a much better player. Actually, I've talked about, Kai Havertz making him a much better player. I think Gyokeres also makes Kai Havertz a much better player. Because one comparison I've made with Kai Havertz is to Thomas Muller. And I say with Bayern, they always get those 25 goal contributions from Muller every single campaign. But there was no season where Muller has been on top of his game and is the lead striker at Bayern. They've brought in a Ken, they've had Robert Lewandowski, Mario Mandzukic, Mario Gomez. So somehow, Muller makes the strikers better, but also the strikers make Muller better, right? You focus on the striker, Muller scores. You focus on this on Muller, the striker scores. You focus on both of them. You're committing two players to two attackers. Then you can have Saka and Martinelli come in to score. I think he would kind of change the dynamism of that Arsenal attack. Bit of a way we saw Trossard when he had just come in and he had deputized for Edin Ketia and Gabriel Jesus. You couldn't predict who was going to be where. When he played in that false nine. So, he comes in, he changes this team, and we become better. €100 million.
Hmm.
This is a gamble. This is very close to what Liverpool paid for Darwin Nunes. And I was watching James Redmond TV, and he was saying, I said Darwin Nunes was going to be the next Timo Werner. He's just a Uruguayan Timo Werner. Is this guy a Swedish Timo Werner? He's got the pace, he's got the power, he's got the what else does Timo Werner have? He's got the chance, the positioning to get in front of goal. Is he a Swedish Timo Werner? And would you spend 100 million on him? How much would you spend on him?
In terms of pounds, I would go for like 65 million pounds, which is like
No way.
75, 80 million euros. 80
Someone
million
said
euros.
in the comment section when I was on live today that he would pay only, actually, that's what they said, only 65 million. And I kind of I'm going to react to you later, but I kind of understand where you guys are coming from.
How much is 65 million pounds? Around 75, 80 million euros.
Yeah.
The thing is, the market has changed.
Yeah, true.
You have to pay a lot of money for different players. Even for average players, you have to pay 40, 50 million for those kind of players. So it has changed. If you want to go to the next level, you have to pay the money. If they push it and they tell us, listen, 70 million, 75 million pounds, I think I would still pay it. I think he is worth it. I think he's very, very good. And I think as I said, he'll come and score goals for us. He'll come and get assists for us. And you've mentioned those Odegaard chances created.
Yeah.
Odegaard has created 94 chances this season. 94, and he only has 8 assists.
Yeah.
94 chances created.
Goal scoring chance.
And that is just Odegaard. You've not even counted the ones that Ben White will create, the ones that Saka will create, the ones that Rice will create, the ones that Trossard creates. Those are a lot of chances. Like a striker would absolutely feast in this Arsenal team. Like I think would easily get 100 plus goals, like with a striker in this team. Because you look at the chances we got against Aston Villa, Wolves, even against Chelsea, that would have been 9. Martinelli had like 2 chances in that game. Those guys.
Yeah,
could have been easily 9.
Every game where we've dropped points this season, apart from Fulham, I think Fulham, the second leg, right? That is the game where I felt like we were flat and we were beaten. But the rest of the games, we could have taken our chances and we could have a different conversation right now.
Yeah, in a different conversation with like Liverpool at home, we scored a goal for them. That could have been 5-0. Against Liverpool. Chelsea could have been 9-0. Bournemouth the other day, it could have been 4-0 at halftime, let alone 3-0 at full time. Could have been 4-0 at halftime. There's some games that we've won 2-1, 2-1 this season against Nottingham twice. 2-1, 2-1 could have been 4-5. Brighton at home 2-1, 2-0 or something could have been 4. Wolves 2-1 at home could have been more than that.
Yeah.
They would absolutely feast like with those chances from Odegaard, someone like a Gyokeres. I have a question for you. Why would you rate like Gyokeres' ability to attack the ball like aerially, like from corners and free kicks and crosses from Ben White and stuff? Do you think he can like outpower players like Van Dijk?
What is funny actually is that I was comparing him to Alexander Isak for a video 2 days ago, and both of them are among our targets. Actually, are some of the worst in the air. He's one of the worst players in the air. His aerial ability is like a 1 out of 10. He's bullied quickly in the air. Even Van Dijk is Van Dijk is a giant. I think he would not beat. I'm sorry to say this. I don't think he would beat Jakub Kiwior in the air. I don't think he would. Yeah, so that is a part of his game that he's going to develop. Is that
something that you look at like, oh, we really do a lot of crosses and free kicks? Is that the weakness, or do you look at it like that doesn't matter? You have other players like Havertz who can knock it down for him, or you can have them attacking the ball instead. How do you look at it?
Well, it depends, right? When you look at the way we set up for set pieces, most of our big players run to the back post, and then when the ball is swinging, they kind of run to the penalty area. So having a guy like Viktor Gyokeres, tall, huge, he just adds to that number of trees in the Arsenal team in the opposition penalty area. You definitely want him to, if a chance came to him, right? You would want him to win the chance. You would want him to be the guy that comes on top and probably scores. But then also there are games where you're not going to have a lot of possession, right? And that's one of the advantages Kai Havertz has brought to this Arsenal team. your goalkeeper has to go long, and then Kai Havertz has got to, his first touch, Kai, this season, especially in the second half of the season, is sublime. So he keeps the ball, and then he waits for the likes of Odegaard, who are always willing to run past him or even provide that kind of support. So if you're Viktor Gyokeres, that is one thing you give to this Arsenal side. You're kind of a billboard. You're kind of a board where, we can throw all our balls and stick them there. And when the likes of Martinelli and Saka, who have the pace, run past you, you can turn with your power and your energy, and then you play that ball into their path. We could score a lot of counter-attacking goals, or against, highline teams like Spurs, Bournemouth. We could score a lot of such goals. So I still think in the air, if he is as bad as he is, right? Because look at Isak. Have you seen Newcastle try to use Alexander Isak as a long ball guy? Like, unless they're playing it into space for him to run onto, they don't use him as a billboard. They don't.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't. I don't necessarily think it would be like a complete weakness for us, as long as he can score other kinds of goals. And as you said, from corners and free kicks, we have other players. Rice doesn't even go into the box these days, whether we take a corner from the left side or right side. Even I was watching the other day, the last two games, even the ones that Saka take, Rice is not in the box to try and score. It's very good from aerially, but we have other players. Gabriel and Saliba were very good attacking the ball, and we basically play with 4 centre backs who all go forward and try to score. So I don't think that is a massive weakness. 1 year ago, if you to ask me which kind of striker I'm looking for, I would say 2. Either a winger who can play as a striker. I thought those days it could be someone like a Diaby, but I realized maybe he cannot really be a centre forward. I was thinking someone who can play as a winger and also a centre forward. Or I was thinking of someone like a Giroud, someone who can just come in and come on in the last 30 minutes, because we were putting in a lot of crosses which aren't working. These days we play really differently. Like, we don't really have to play like having just one person in the box and stuff. We have a way of putting in a cross and scoring, even from normal play, like Brentford at home. White runs to the right side, he crosses the ball. Odegaard's passing, that assist, that's pre-assist. Odegaard is very good at that. Those passes he gives to Ben White and to Saka, and then they cross the ball for Havertz or whoever is in the box. That really works. I was asking you that about Gyokeres because there's a couple of chances Jesus has gotten this season, like against Brighton away. Like a couple of good crosses, and Jesus doesn't really head them in to the goal. So that's what I was asking. It depends on how we play, but I think can you say he's better than Jesus in terms of headers?
Yeah, I'll tell you, anyone is better than Gabriel Jesus in terms of headers. Like,
yeah, because he misses a lot.
If we were to rank all the strikers in the Premier League right now, like we choose one striker from every Premier League team, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, Jackson. Like, I've seen Jackson score a header already.
Yeah, he misses a lot as well.
Yeah, but the likes of Richarlison are better. The likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin are better in the air. The likes of Darwin Núñez is better in the air. Rasmus Hojlund is better in the air. Haaland is better than the air. So I would still want him to improve, but I don't think it would be massive weakness for us to go, don't sign him. He's not good in the air, because even Alexander Isak is not good in the air. So you said 65 is what you would go for. Apparently, I think that Arsenal
pounds, euros, that could be like 80 million euros.
Okay. I think teams will kind of sniff out our weakness, that we need a striker, and we are kind of desperate, although we are trying to hide it by keeping Jesus and having Kai Havertz as well. But if it is 70 to 75 million pounds, I would still do the deal if Mikel Arteta really trusts him. There is a way I trust Mikel when it comes to transfers. If he really believes in him, I would get in the deal. Now, Fabrizio says that Arsenal are not looking at Gyokeres only. We're looking at Isak, we're looking at Sesko and Watkins. He literally doesn't reference Watkins a lot, but he references Isak and Sesko very, very much, right? So I wanted us to do a comparison 1v1 with these strikers. Viktor Gyokeres, for me, when it comes to Alexander Isak is a much better versatile player. You can play him anywhere across that front three and he will thrive. He's a speed merchant. Gyokeres is also a speed merchant, but when it comes to Isak, he is lethal. Like, he's like a winger, and that's why people have said he's like more of a Thierry Henry. In finishing, it's Gyokeres, because he's got that eye for goal. He's sharp, he's clinical, and he powers balls. He really, really powers balls into the back of the net. So in terms of, if I was to compare both of them, I think Isaka's got that Premier League experience. He's played in Spain as well. So those are 4 seasons in 2 of Europe's top 5 leagues.
Yeah.
I would still say if Alexander Isak is going to promise me to be fit and Mikel Arteta can improve on his positioning to get to be in the penalty area a little bit more, I would say Isak.
You've said the same thing I was going to say. I think in terms of Isak and Gyokeres, I would rate Isak highly in a lot of aspects.
Yeah.
But availability. That's what I wanted to tell you. Availability is the only thing. Because I have the stats here for Isak, and this season he missed 10 games with 2 different injuries. Last season he missed 16 games with 1 injury. The previous season he missed 5 games. I mean, I don't think he's completely injury prone. He's not like Wilson. Callum Wilson is completely injury prone.
Not that guy.
This guy has had like 3, 4, 5 different injuries the last 5 seasons that he's missed 31 games. That is still a lot. You still want a striker who's going to play for you at least 35 games in a season. If we can get a striker who can be available as Saka is in a team and only miss 3 games in a season, that would be great. And I think Isak would miss a few games here. Now, the reason he could be missing games is because maybe he was playing a lot at Sociedad and playing a lot at Newcastle. Maybe at Arsenal, we're not even going to play him every single game, and that will mean he doesn't really get injured every day. It depends. But that's the only thing I would say. Gyokeres would be better in terms of availability because Gyokeres has played 46 games and 45 games in the championship. That is very hard. That's every single game.
Yeah, the thing that actually frightens me with Alexander Isak, you look at the number of games he has missed with injuries, and then you look at the caliber of injuries. It's not one injury. So he's suffered a thigh injury, a muscle injury, a shoulder injury,
knee injury.
He just kind of attracts injuries. That it kind of scares me. But then I'm like, Martinelli was sorted out, so maybe we could actually work on that, right? It could be because he drives the ball a lot. He drives with the ball a lot. That's another thing. Like he takes on players, very much. And in a club like Arsenal, you look at our possession-based kind of style, and you're like, you wouldn't have really to run all the time.
Yeah, true. I hear you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it would be too much of a concern, but you always have it at the back of your head because we've had problems with Jesus and, Partey, Zinchenko and Martinelli before he started becoming a regular. We've had a lot of injuries to those players. So it would be devastating if you got a striker like Isak and then after the second game he gets injured with a muscle injury for 2 months. That would be devastating. So I think I'd look at that. I'd be worried about that, but I'd be worried in terms of how much I'd pay. I'd be like, these injuries and stuff, would I really pay a certain amount of money? But in terms of quality, it'd be my first choice for sure. If I was from the ones who are available, if I had to ask me to choose a random striker, any I can get, I would have a different option. But for the ones who would be available, I'd love Isak.
Yeah. In terms of Isak, how do you see his price tag? I don't think, does he have a release clause? I'm not sure, but how do you see 100 million that Newcastle are quoting?
I did a video about Isak, and I think that was like 3 weeks back, and I said Castle will play like 85, 90 million for Isak. The comments, that video had 50 comments, and like 2 of them were from Arsenal fans. The other like 30 were from Newcastle fans. You can't get Alexander Isak. Isak is not, you have to pay like 150 million for Isak. No, Isak, we're not going to sell Isak for 70 million. You people are deluded. You're going to have to pay like 120 million. So for the Newcastle fans, they rate him very, very highly.
Very highly, yeah.
And they think like there's no chance Isak would go to Arsenal. What price I'd be willing to pay for him? Premier League is crazy. I'd say 90 million max.
90 million max.
90 million max. I think that would be, in terms of pounds, I think that would take it to like 100 million euros. I think he's worth it. I think he's worth that price. As you've also brought up a good point in terms of he's played for Dortmund, he's played for Sociedad, different countries. And like some of the goals I see him scoring, there's some players who are just going to wait in the box to score. But if you look at the goal that Isak scored against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge this season, he gets past for the ball like way outside the box. but his quality, dribbles past two players, cuts to his right foot and puts it in from the outside the box. If the goal he scored at Anfield this season against Liverpool, I think he just ran past Van Dijk and shot with his left foot, like different styles of finishing, left foot, right foot. I saw him scoring against Sheffield United these days. And on top of that, he can also play as a winger.
Yeah, true.
That's the other thing. So I think he is worth it. If I was told you Arsenal have paid 100 million for Isak, I don't think I'd not sleep well.
So the other striker Arsenal are looking at, according to Fabrizio, is Benjamin Sesko. He's a very, very popular name when it comes to the Arsenal hierarchy. 55 million is what Arsenal have to pay because that is his release clause. He's having what people in Germany are calling a good season. I'm not calling it a good season. I'm calling it an okay season. He scored 12 goals in around 24 games this campaign. Obviously, he's playing on that front line with Lewis Openda, who is really banging in the goals. And I hope Arsenal will look at Lewis Openda at some point in time in this summer. Sesko and Viktor Gyokeres. Sesko is not my guy. I won't lie to you. He's not my kind of guy. But people really overhype him. I would want him to go to Manchester United so that I use them as a litmus test to see how good he is. But 55 million maybe could attract us. Would you think so?
It's cheaper. He's younger, yes, but he'd not even be in my top 5 list, to be honest. I know it's his first season at Leipzig. I think he used to be at Salzburg.
Yeah, Salzburg.
I think some of his performances that were really, really good that people watched was I think when he was playing for Slovenia as like Euro qualifiers and stuff. He was scoring some really good goals, some really good headers, and people are like, yeah, this is the guy. But I'm not sure if I would look at this. Do you think Premier League opponents would look at like Man City would be like, oh, Arsenal have signed Sesko. This is tough. I don't think so.
I think it's the kind of like. Have you seen Beto at Everton?
Yeah, Udinese was very good.
Exactly. So is that kind of striker that would come and really struggle, really struggle. In a Premier League team, like really struggle because physically I don't rate him. Aerially, I don't rate him. In terms of being pace and speed, again, I don't rate him over Gyokeres. There's no, I don't know. Even his finishing, there is no aspect of his game that I would say I would add this to Viktor Gyokeres. No aspect of his game.
You said a good point about you trusting Arteta in terms of transfer windows. I trust him a lot as well. And another thing I trust him with is, even if he signs someone like Havertz, I'm like, why are you guys worried? He's going to come and play and Arteta is going to be good. So I'd still know that Sesko will come to Arsenal and he'll play around the likes of Saka and Odegaard and it'll be great. But how long will that take? Us fans are looking for someone who's going to hit the ground running next season and take us to the next level. We already have a lot of players that we're developing in other positions, like the Sakas, and people are still like, okay, Raya still needs to do more here and there. I feel like Ben White is still improving his game at right back. He's only started playing right back a couple of seasons ago. There's a lot of players that we're still working on as well. The only players I would say like complete good in their positions are Saka, Tritwing, and he's not even, I don't think even Saka is obviously not even there yet. He still has a lot like one-on-one finishing. I think he needs to work on that as well. I think Odegaard and Rice and maybe Gabriel are the players I look at and I'm like, yeah, this one's like they already know every single thing about their positions, and maybe Saliba. All the others are like improving here and there. And I think Sesko is another player who would like need time to improve. And in terms of what we've seen him doing before, I don't think people would be scared of like, oh, Arsenal have signed Sesko.
Yeah. Lastly is Watkins. He doesn't need a lot of time to explain himself to the Premier League defenders because he has done that. And this season he has successfully negotiated 19 goals without any penalties scored. For me, Watkins is a bit of a mixed reaction guy. Like I could look at him and I'm like, this season I would take him. But then I could also look at him and I'm like, but this is a 15 million goal striker, guys, that you're trying to kind of brand to me. Are you sold onto Watkins? Are you the guy that believes in strikers becoming good in the evening days? Do you think he would be nice for the next 3, 4, 5 years when he's in his 30s?
I think, when you asked me, I told you Isak would be my first choice striker from the ones that are available. And I told you I have a different option for if I was to take any striker. Watkins would be number one. I was talking about Watkins in 2020. I did a video saying I want Watkins from Brentford. Brentford were a League One team at that time. Like that, I really like Watkins. Like we played Aston Villa the other day, and I was like, we need to score goals because Watkins, man, if he gets a couple of chances, we're in trouble. And he got 2 or 3 chances that day. Bang, one of them, the other one hit the post. He is really good. He has the Premier League experience. He gives defenders a hard time, and he scored against us. I think he scored against us. There's a time we were losing a lot of home games 3 seasons ago, and Watkins scored twice against us. I think they beat us 3-0 at the Emirates.
Yeah.
Last season, the 4-2 at their place, he scored against us, I think, on that day as well. He ran past Saliba and scored. This season, he scored against us as well. I think he's very, very good. Like, those goals without penalties, if he was taking penalties, would have had like 30 Premier League goals because Douglas Luiz has scored like 8-9 penalties for them this season. If he was taking penalties, his numbers would have been absolutely incredible. And on top of that, that's another striker who's getting multiple assists. He could actually have a season where he's number 1 in terms of goals and assists. Obviously, Haaland will win it, but he was this close to being number 1 in terms of goals and assists. He'll potentially be top 2 in terms of goals and assists this season. Both of them, which are just incredible numbers, and the experience as well. I really do think I absolutely love him, and I will improve the next 3-4 years. I think he will. How old is he right now?
Watkins, I think, is 29.
That's slightly above what I think Aston would look for in terms of the age. But then again, we signed the likes of Jorginho recently. Will he improve? I think he still has at least three seasons in the top stages, 3, maybe 4 years at most in the top stages. He can definitely do the job for you. Now, that is a ready striker. That will not need to improve him. He'll come to Arsenal. He'll just need a preseason to work with the Arsenal team. And that's the kind of striker now, Watkins, that if those 94 chances Odegaard is creating with those through passes, if you give Watkins those, he'll absolutely get them. Because one of those chances that Odegaard created was Liverpool at home when he passed the ball through to Havertz and Havertz missed, and then Saka scored from the rebound. Watkins scores that. If you give Watkins that one-on-one chance, he bangs it in. So those sort of chances, Watkins would absolutely enjoy. I think it is also, was it Brighton or something? Trossard got a one-on-one chance, he missed it. Even Man City.
It was actually
Watkins.
Aston Villa. It was actually Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, yeah. And there was also Man City one where Trossard went through on the left side and we had a chance to nick it in the last minute. That one, Watkins potentially scores it for you. So
sure.
Watkins would be my number 1 choice. If you had to ask me whichever striker I want, I'd have Watkins as my number 1 and Isak as my number 2. I absolutely love Watkins. So for him, I would take him. In terms of money, I see Watkins as 70 million strike.
Yeah, he's around 70 million. He's around 70 to 75. If the problem I have with him is that, there is not enough data for you to go, he's a hurricane, there is not enough data to show you that he's a hurricane or Robert Lewandowski. You could invest 100 million in Robert Lewandowski at 35 because of what he has done
before.
But I think with Watkins, you could go with 70, 75. As we wrap up, I want your thoughts on Gyokeres and Partey. Partey reportedly not in talks for a new deal. So Barcelona, Saudi Arabia offers and Galatasaray interested. And then Bruno Gyokeres could be the guy that comes in to replace him. Do you think that's a nice swap?
Partey, I actually thought Partey would leave Arsenal last season. I didn't think he was going to be here this season.
Me too.
We've really missed him with those injuries, and that's something that has really hurt him and hurt us. Like those injuries, if he was there's a couple of games there we potentially win. Like at least one of those Fulham games, we potentially win at least one of them if Partey is there in midfield. Like that is how much of a difference he'd make. But his age, he's obviously getting to the mid-30s now, and if you had the injuries as well, and I think his contract is expiring next year. I don't think he'd get a new contract anyway. Is there a chance he could be here next season? There is, but I still feel like he would leave. In terms of replacing him, Bruno Gyokeres would be, in terms of just the player quality, I would take Bruno Gyokeres 100%. In terms of replacing Partey, I'm like 60%, 40%. Why? Because Bruno Gyokeres is also like Declan Rice. I've seen some stats and some interviews from Bruno Gyokeres, and he has said that he prefers playing in the number 8 position.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, that's true.
So I would really prefer a player who just completely wants to play as a number 6. Like you see, like a Jorginho. Jorginho has never played anywhere else. He just wants to play as a number 6. He doesn't want to go to number 8, number 10. players like Zubimendi, just a player who wants to play as a number
Yeah.
6 completely, doesn't really want to, push forward a lot. If the choice was you play Rice as a number 6 and then Bruno Guimaraes as a number 8, fine. Would it be advisable to rotate? People rotate strikers and wingers sometimes and fullbacks, but I've never really seen like a team that has like today we have Rice as a number 6, Bruno Guimaraes as a number 8. Next game we have Bruno Guimaraes as a number 6, Rice as a number 8. I've never seen anyone playing around with that midfield position like that before. Yeah. It's very, very, very rare. I would actually love to see a team that does that. Maybe if you have that as a different idea to go past Man City, maybe that can work. Or maybe Liverpool play within, they don't really know who's going to be the one pushing forward this time. Is it going to be Declan Rice? Is it going to be Bruno Guimaraes?
In terms, a surprise element would be nice.
Surprising element. In terms of mystery, that would be great. I wouldn't mind that. That's why I said I'm 60%, 40%. I'd like to see it, but I'd also want someone who just wants to play as a number 6. In terms of quality, Bruno Guimaraes is being incredible. Seen him scoring some goals. Midfield, the tackling, just power in midfield since his Lyon days. He's a hard head as well. There's so many times I've watched him playing against us and I absolutely hate the guy. He's punching Jorginho in the head, fighting Declan Rice, fighting Havertz. But that is the kind of people you want in your team. Players like Xhaka, we need players like that. And we still have players like that in the team.
I would want him. It's a bit of a Xhaka, the fighting spirit. I think, you get him in UEFA Champions League quarterfinals. I think like PSG missed something like that. Like they did have someone like Vitinha who kind of wants to bring in that kind of inspiration. But I think even Arsenal, we don't have that kind of guy that, Odegaard is so good when it comes to, those low moments. He's so good at lifting himself and lifting the club as well. But you need a fighter in such games. You need a guy that stands in for others. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Obviously, we'll be back with the live streams tomorrow. My name is Cossy. This is Glenn, and we will be on Glenn's channel for an episode right I think that will be today as well, so make sure you do check it out, and see you soon. Glenn, thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it. I can't wait for the transfer window. Like the moment it gets to April, May, it starts really building up and it's going to be a busy one, as I said, in terms of incomings and ongoings. I can't wait.
Sure.